I thank the grace of heaven and the virtue of our predecessors and the benevolence of our transmitters that I have this opportunity today to continue my presentation on the 15 precepts. Well, I think most of you were here during that time when I did the first precept. This is starting with number 2. I don't know if I'll be able to do 2 to 5 today, but I'll at least do 2 of them today. Does everybody still remember what the first precept was? Okay. Okay. And that was, of course, to respect and honor the Buddha and saint, right? Okay, saints, of course. And the main emphasis of the most important part of the first precept was what? The Buddha or saint within you. Okay, so in other words, it basically starts with yourself, beginning. Okay, so later on, as we go through the rest of the precepts, each of them will, in a way, I guess you could say a little bit reflect upon, or always go back to that first precept, because after all, it is the most important one. Okay, so to begin the second precept. The second precept is 尊前提后. Okay, so what does that mean? Okay, so the title is essentially, to put it simply, very simply, is to follow the senior, lead the junior, so to speak. Okay, that's just very simple. So how the teacher then explains it is this. What is meant by abiding by those preceding, like follow the seniors, and what is meant by to promote those following, lead the juniors. Okay, those preceding mean the seniors and predecessors, and those following mean the junior or latecomers. Okay, the whole in this part means in terms of time. Okay, in terms of time. Okay, so what kind of a person is qualified to be a senior or predecessor? What kind of person is qualified to be considered a junior or latecomer? Okay, you all say that a senior predecessor is one who received the Tao earlier, received the mandate earlier, or having become an introducer or guarantor. All are, it's like being considered a senior or predecessor, because after all, you in a way, you follow your introducer and guarantor, right? Okay. Okay, now, so the Holy Teacher poses the question, is this all there is to it? Is that what it really means? Okay. What the teacher then says is that all this is nothing more than trying to, in a way, relate that in terms of within the Tao community, the structure or hierarchy of the community itself. Okay. So that's just the face of it, so to speak, or the appearance of it. Okay. So the more important thing to talk about is really what? How about being a senior or predecessor outside the hierarchy? I mean the Tao community. Okay, or not rather the Tao community, but rather outside the meaning of the hierarchy. You should know that sufficient moral or virtuous character, a degree of wisdom, consistent words and action, and sufficient service and caring for others. Okay. Now, why does the Holy Teacher talk about that? Okay. Because of the fact that what we talked about earlier in terms of seniors or juniors is nothing more than just what? Appearance. The outward appearance. So more importantly, Holy Teacher talks about is that beyond the outer appearance, there's other aspects to what should be considered a junior or senior. Okay, so sufficient conduct or accomplishment in being a model for the people, meaning being a good example for the people. Sufficient in assimilating people into the Tao, meaning introducing others to the Tao or leading them to transform themselves, or not leading them, but rather to influencing them to transform themselves to be a better person, etc. From we say in Chinese we say 改恶向善, right? Means to what? Change from bad to good. Okay. Only then is one truly one qualified to be considered a senior or predecessor. So now, but the problem is this. It's true that because these are things that are inner qualities of the people or the person, it is hard to try to, in a way, use that as a benchmark of trying to determine a person's worthiness, if you will, okay, or qualification of being considered a senior or, junior, so to speak. Okay. But however, even though these are inequalities, so to speak, think about it. Your inner qualities or your inner characteristics or attributes, what? Gets reflected in your what? Your actions and your conduct, right? So in a way, we can really see those things, okay, by just literally observing the person, listening to the person, etc. Okay, so what the Holy Teacher basically is saying is that, yes, besides the fact that, you see someone who has a title of a transmitter or the title of a lecturer or a temple host or temple master, etc., even introducers and guarantors, okay, these are just, I guess, in a way, a convenient way to try to establish a hierarchy, a structure, okay. But the most important part, in fact, in my opinion, even more important than that structure hierarchy, is really what the teacher mentions now, which is the what? The inner qualities. Because after all, it is the inner qualities that truly, I guess you could say, establish the person, the inner quality. Okay. Okay, so to continue on, it goes. Thus, only in such a way does the senior or predecessor have the qualification to receive respect and honor from others and allow the people from the depths of their hearts to truly follow that senior and predecessor. Because after all, when you think about it, regardless whether in the Tao community or not, just in human society, right? A true leader is what? Is someone who what? Someone that claims to be a leader? Or?
By example.
Well, yes, by example. In fact, a true leader is one when you can have others say they were willing to follow you. Not because you say, I am the leader and you should follow me. Rather, it's the reverse. Only when people are willing to follow you can you truly be considered a true leader. Okay? And they are willing to follow you, not because of the fact that you say you're a leader or whatever, but rather they see there is something in you that they are willing to what? Commit themselves to. Okay? So that is truly what a leader is. Okay? And it's sometimes like especially in today's world where you have a good example is this. We now have people who, especially Democrats anyway, right now. Not to say to be biased in one party or the other, but there's a lot of Democrats now today who are what? They're all establishing community exploratory communities to what? Be president. Right? So there's, I think, well, right now the Republicans, I don't know if there's any candidates, but there's a lot of
they can't because
well,
because
no,
Trump
no,
is
no,
still
no.
their president.
Well, no, it's for the next election. For the next election.
But whoever party's in power
Yeah.
is president, they're not gonna get a challenge.
No, they. Well, it's hard to say. Okay, but the point is this. Yeah, usually the incumbent president is the one that continues on, so to speak, or becomes the next de facto nominee, so to speak. Okay, so, but you see a lot of people, wanting to be president because they say that they can lead the country better, so all this stuff. Well, Yeah, that's true. Part of it may be that they have good visions or whatever, but the point is that it is their history or their records of their own what, whether it's in leadership positions or not, that they display how they will. I guess you could say how they will. How they will. I guess you could say. What's that word? I can't remember. Okay, how they will be able to produce the results, if you will. Okay, for the future. Okay, so anyway, so here it's like saying, okay, as the Holy Teacher mentioned that only through these inner characters can one receive the respect and honor and have those people willing to follow it. Otherwise, if you are inadequate in moral or virtuous character as well as wisdom, there's an idiom that says like. I think I'm not so sure I translate this properly, but I guess in the West we say like the blind leading the blind. Okay, but in this case, I think when I translate it, it's more like the leader being blind, leading others to blindly follow. Okay, and then here it says into danger, into the fire or the danger. Okay, so in other words, yeah. One should not, first of all, one should not blindly follow. That's very important. Okay. And the second is that the leader, him or herself, must what? Also not be blind in the sense that not knowing where, how, or not only how, but rather where or which direction that you should be leading. Okay. Or going. Okay. So then, again, how can you truly guide the people to return to heaven if you cannot guide them, if you cannot get others to return to heaven? Okay, this is of course talking about the fact that, yeah, if we ourselves do not cultivate well or do not learn about the Tao well, etc., then how then can we ourselves help others to what? Because after all, our goal is to what? To return back, right? To heaven. Okay. Yeah, and there's another thing about that, but I won't go into that for this particular presentation. Okay, so okay, so the question, the Holy here presented the question: how can you be qualified to become a predecessor? Okay, who is truly likewise, who is truly considered a junior or latecomer? Okay. Now, again, as in the beginning. The Holy Teacher has asked, like, whether one's a senior or junior, is it because of the fact that one receives the Tao earlier or later than other people? Same thing with the mandate, as for us, like transmitters or lecturers or temple hosts or whatever. Okay, and even who you're introducing sponsors. Because one of the things that, if we look at the, what is called that? Is it Heaven's Tao that we present the fact? No. Is it the what's that class where you present the like the predecessors, the
Lineage of
lineage. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. The lineage of Tao, right? You have what? You start with God, right? The diagram that we usually have. You start with God, and then it goes through all the different predecessors, and then finally comes to what? Transmitter, and then what? Introducing sponsor, and then it goes to you, right? That's I think that's how the chart goes, right? Okay, all right. So yeah, so in that sense, it seems like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the hierarchy, that's the structure that we should go through. Okay, so and then it comes down to okay, who whether it's who received the Tao first. If you're talking about introducing sponsors, obviously the introducer and guarantors received the Tao first before you did, right? Because after all, you're being introduced, etc. And so therefore, it's a question of time, right? Okay, so the Holy Teacher, okay, it is the Holy Teacher continues the fact that, hey, it's already we're living in a time period. What, it's the what we call the moho, right? Which is the end times, if you want to call it. Well, moho is basically, it just means that we're in the decline. I guess I'll call it ending period. Yeah, the end times, the ending periods. Okay, All right, because after all, it is only then that we have today this universal salvation, etc. Okay, if you are okay, very important part here is if you have not yet, if you are, oh, no, you should, my grammar is incorrect. Okay, it should be been able, but you know, if you have not, oh, okay, if you no, let's see, how do you say? If you're not able, well, the main premise of the question is, the statement is that if you have not yet been able to what, see beyond the forms, the attachment. Attachment is a type of form. Okay, because most of the time in I think in the Buddhist sense, forms includes attachments. Okay, in fact, even emotions. Okay, the way emotions, because after all, Buddhism talks about the 色受想行识. Okay, 色受相行识. Okay, 相行识, right. So therefore, the physical forms as well as non-physical forms. That's why I mentioned the emotion part. Okay, so if you are not able to what, look beyond it. Okay, and that's why, by the way, that holy teacher tells us to what? To learn or to listen to the 心理心法, to learn the Buddha nature, the Buddha nature what lectures, okay, classes, okay, because the whole purpose of that, or the main purpose of that, is to really help us what, see beyond the forms. Because let's face it, forms is what we live by, you know. Our whole lives is, in a way, rely on forms. Okay. And so therefore, to really like let go of that, remember in one of the 12 relinquishments, I believe? Yeah, the holy teacher, you know, that's another topic. He talks about the fact that what, you need to what, let go of these forms, right? And then even beyond that is what, you have to what? Let go of letting go. You know, that's like, you know, how do you let go of letting go? Okay, so in other words, but the point is that it's step by step. You know, you have to first start somewhere, and then eventually you try to let go of letting go. Okay, in other words, it seems like it's totally, I don't know, when I think about the fact that, you know, cultivating the Tao and trying to understand what its ultimate goal is, I see a very, how do you say it? I don't want to say negative, okay, but I see really a very, I'll call it harsh a little bit, harsh reality in the sense that, you know, you ask about the fact that, okay, well, Tao created this universe, etc., and part of that is creating us, right? And we have the ability to think and all that stuff. And then when I think about the fact that, yeah, what then are you? What does it really mean to, like, become not just Buddha, but rather become a Buddha, but rather really, because a Buddha or a saint is nothing more than, if you will, the manifestation of a Tao. But it's a human. In other words, it's a human manifestation, meaning the fact that it is something that we can relate to as humans. Okay, a Buddha or saint, right? Okay, now, but the Buddha or saint is just that, a manifestation. Because after all, what is really beyond or above, for lack of a better way to describe it, above a Buddha or saint, is just the Tao itself, right? But yet it's something that we cannot, what? Describe, right? The Tao, you know, because Tao is, remember Lao Tzu says what? Tao cannot be, you know, expressed, blah, blah, blah. So lack of a word, I call it the Tao, etc. Okay. So when you, well, I'm deviating a little bit, but maybe in the future I could talk about that. But when I think about it, and so I spent a lot of time on it, and I said, you know, it's really, I don't know. I don't want to say non-human, because after all, the word full is non-human, but it really is. I don't know. I guess the only way I can say it is very harsh, in terms of like, wait a minute, what? How does that? How can that, like, help you live your life? Okay, I guess that's the best way to put it, because of the fact that, my final conclusion was that, gosh, you literally discard humanity. You really discard what is being, because after all, that's what, in a way, that I get to the point where it's like, literally like, letting go of what? Letting go. Okay, so anyway, but that's a separate topic in itself. But anyway, so, okay, the important thing here is this, okay, is the fact that we have to learn to break through or overcome forms of our attachments. Okay. To truly return to our true self nature, not just merely in vain, okay, in other words, persevering in or attached to this phenomenal life or existence, okay. Only then, because after all, how then can you obtain the true transcendence of freedom, okay? And it is through breaking through or overcoming these attachments that you can do this, okay? And like I said, these two sentences sort of, in a way, relates to what I was talking about. Like, it's hard. There's a harsh conclusion, so to speak, from all my, thoughts about, like, what does it mean to. Okay, what does it mean to cultivate? Okay, yeah.
Let go of letting go, right? I think letting go is still a thought that you're trying to do something to let go.
Yeah.
True.
So
No,
at the end-
exactly.
And it needs to be formless.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you don't even have that thought anymore.
Right.
And you can
Yeah.
perform naturally.
Yeah, right.
And to reach that certain
No,
level.
just
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
and just so
natural.
suchness,
Yeah.
thusness.
Yeah.
It
So
just
it's-
comes
Yeah.
naturally, or what
Yeah.
we
So
call it
it's-
naturally.
it-
Or
it-
Yeah, because
without-
what you
Step
say,
by step.
right,
No,
that's
it
true.
just comes without condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Without any
It's
cause.
just-
No cause. Without cause.
Right,
Just-
because
So
It
you're-
just
a good
spontaneous.
example, yeah.
Spontaneous.
Because a good example of, the step by step, as you mentioned, is if you look at the chart that Lecturer Kai gave about Buddha, right? The Buddha. There's so many, he's a, because when we generally think of Buddha as just enlightened person, but according to the definition of Buddha in the Buddha sense, there's really in itself has a hierarchy, a structure, right? There's a what? Buddhas of desire. What is a form, right, or whatever, the formless, and then only he says only at the very top, right? The first, only the top four, something like that, is Buddha. Okay, well, Buddha as we would think about it. Okay, as we think, because when we think of Buddha, we think of the fact that a Buddha is already at such a high level that he doesn't have these forms and desires or whatever. Okay, but in reality, you can still be a Buddha, having a title of a Buddha, right? But be in the realm of what? The form, formless, blah, 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 etc., right? And then very top, okay. And how does Lecturer Kai explain the fact that when you're at that level, at that height? He mentions the fact that it's like saying you're nowhere and everywhere, something like that. Okay, meaning the fact that what? You can still be human, so to speak, physical, okay, having some manifestation, but yet being what? Still everywhere. Okay, it's almost like a simultaneous existence, so to speak. Okay, something like that, right? Am I explaining correctly?
When we become enlightened at the highest level.
Yeah, at that level, not the other levels.
When I say highest level, we really should mean Anodora Samyak Sambodhi.
Right,
Or
that level.
Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Okay, that's the highest level. The other levels are Bodhisattva levels, right?
No, even some are above that based on your chart. Yeah, I think.
No, on the chart is
You have the forms, or the desire forms.
no. That's different.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Bodhi states.
Oh, the Bodhi. Okay.
There are 52 levels. And those are all called enlightened states.
Right.
Enlightened
What
states.
we call enlightened states,
Well,
right?
well,
That's
well.
it. Yeah, right. Our understanding of enlightened
Yeah,
states.
but they're not the Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Okay, that's the Anuttara Samsabodhi is really indescribable, but that's okay. Because that's the state of, you can say oneness. You can say oneness. That means no duality. So I don't know how you describe that oneness. We say absolute. Even absolute is kind of, not 100% correct. But anyway, okay. The other levels are also enlightened states, but they're not at that oneness level yet. So they could still have a thought. As a matter of fact, according to the Shulong, Nagarjuna, the 14th patriarch of Buddhism, okay, 14th patriarch of Buddhism, after Mahakasyapa, okay, the 14th generation, the 14th, I think it's the 14th. He wrote a thesis called 性起论, 性, 相信的性, 起, to elevate, to rise, to elevate. 性起论, 论 means discourse, or you can say theory or whatever, okay? He stated that, and I talked about that in the 10 Dharma realms. I mean, those of you who've attended that class a couple months ago, a few weeks ago. There are 52 levels of enlightenment before Anuttara Samsabodhi. Okay, that's according to that treatise, that theory, that treatise, whatever. It's not a sutra, it's a treatise because it's not spoken by the Buddha. Okay, that's why it's not called a sutra. Okay, that's called the Bodhisattva path. Okay, you can say the Bodhisattva levels of achievement. Okay, unlike Arhat, right? Unlike an Arhat, right? Okay. So at the 50th, at the 47th and above. In others, in the 50th, there's the 10 levels of faith. That's the first 10. Then the 10 levels of dwelling, right? 实性, 实住, right? Then 10 levels of conduct, 实行. Then 10 levels of dedication of merits, or 实回向, right? And then that's the 40 levels. And then 50 levels are the 10 grounds or stages, 实地. So, and then the two more above called equal enlightenment, and wonderful or marvelous enlightenment. Okay, those are the 51st and 52nd level. Okay, so at the 50th level, you have to be at totally above the 50th level, according to this treatise, right? By the 14th patriarch, he said, only at that. If you go at the 50th level and above, you will not have a thought. 三系, right? Remember what 三系 is, right?
Yeah.
That's the subtle, subtle dots, subtle dots. I mean, that's the translation. It's in the list here, okay? Only at the 50th level, but really the 51st and
52nd, right?
You will not have the 三系, understand? So that means at the first 50 levels, you still could have the 三系. Get it? The three subtle consciousness.
Notions or whatever, yeah.
Right. Okay, makes sense?
Yep.
So that means you could still have a thought. Get it? That's still a form. And that's why Bodhisattvas, even though they are the first 50 levels, they are still connected, you can say, to the physical realm. So that you understand? So they're not at the level of the Buddhas yet, because they still have this 三系 remnants. The 三系 you can further divide into the六出, the six coarse thoughts or whatever. I mean, coarse thoughts, coarse thoughts of consciousness or whatever. Okay, so it's all in between. So only at the 51st and 52nd, which is equal enlightenment and wonderful or marvelous enlightenment, are you truly free. I mean, empty. I say empty. That means no form, no more forms. Those two levels. So for example, Guan Yin, and Bodhisattva of the underworld, Siddhigarbha, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they were originally at the 47th or 48th, 49th, 50th level. You know that? Then they entered the 51st or 52nd level. That means they are literally, or right at the threshold of Anuttara Samsabodhi, of Buddhas. You get it? So So only then, when you have no more three, 三系, I don't know how you want to translate it. I have translated as three subtle thoughts, guys. Three refined or subtle conceptions, okay? Only when you achieve that level, which is 51st, 52nd, are you like almost like a Buddha. Basically considered like a Buddha, because you no longer have even any form. When I say any form, meaning in this case no thoughts. I mean, obviously they don't have a physical form. Now to go back to what Transmitter Ray was talking about, when we achieve Anuttara Samya Sambodhi, the Trikaya, you know what the Trikaya is? Sansan, right? Sansan, yeah, three bodies, whatever. Yeah, it becomes simultaneous. It's that because we are not at that level yet of the Samya, we only, what's only apparent, or what we think only exists, is our Nirmanakaya, i.e. our physical body. We don't know we have a Buddha, that we are a Buddha, in absolute realm or whatever, okay? We don't know that. Or we don't know that we have a celestial or diva body, or whatever you want to call it, diva body, a spiritual body. That's a better way of, because Nirmanakaya means we have a physical body. We generalize as a physical body, spiritual body, and an absolute body, or whatever, yeah, perfect body, Dharmakaya, right? Okay, so only when we achieve Anuttara Samya Sambodhi is, remember at the beginning I said what's Anuttara Samya? It's like when you are at one. Remember oneness? What's oneness? Oneness means you are at the level of pure essence, pure essence, but simultaneously that essence will give rise or will manifest, show itself,
yeah,
display itself into infinite forms. Get it? So that's what we mean by oneness. Okay? So when we achieve Anuttara Samya Sambodhi, the 53rd level, okay, then that oneness will display itself. That we are, yes, at one, which is this absolute essence, the absolute being, Dharmakaya, that we can't describe actually, use words, because it's eternal, it's timeless, it's formless, it's non-dualistic, it's unperturbed, all that stuff, everything, okay, that. But you simultaneously can display itself. So that's why a Buddha, remember like Sakyamuni, when he's, yes, we say, oh, he lived 2,500 years. So, yeah, that's only his Nirmanakaya, yes, because Nirmanakaya, physical body, has a beginning and end, right? So he has to be born and he has to go someplace, right? I mean, just a matter of time, that's all. But simultaneously, he's Buddha, is in all the celestial heaven. Get it?
Yeah.
Simultaneously.
Yeah, that's why when he teaches and all that, it's not only his disciples.
And also in the underworld.
Yeah, everybody, all other things are listening.
And also, quote unquote, he's also up there. That's why Buddha said, what's one of his nomenclatures or titles for Buddha, right? Like Tathagata?
Yeah,
Tathagata?
Such, yeah, as
No.
suchness.
What's Tathagata? Suchness. Also, literally, it means come such, right? Thus come.
Thus come.
Thus go.
Right.
Thus go.
Right.
What's that mean? Thus come, thus go.
Right.
Thus come, thus go. He comes and he goes. Actually, what it means is, from our perspective, the physical phenomenon, he appears and then he's gone. It doesn't, that's a very narrow, limited view, understanding. The greater understanding is that you can say he's everywhere and nowhere.
Right.
Make sense? That's the Trikaya too. That's also another way of you can say, of saying what a Trikaya is.
Right. Okay.
Get it?
Yeah, not to cut it short, but because
Sorry.
that is part. It's because of all, as Lecture Kai mentioned, it's because of all that stuff. When I think about those things, I get, I sort of come to the conclusion, wow, it's this harshness word comes in, okay. But maybe it's not the right word for it, but that's what I mean by that, okay. So, because that is really beyond what we can, as humans, okay. So now,
Conscious.
yeah.
So just to use Sakamuni, right? When he reaches that Anyo Doro Sanputi, right?
Right.
He at the time he couldn't receive he actually had to let go with that. Then the Nandan Gufo then
Dikankara, yeah.
right, and then came and gave
Validated him.
right,
Yeah, say,
validated
yeah,
his
you
entire-
are Buddha
Right.
now.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you even that.
Yeah,
you need to
exactly.
let go.
That
So
letting
that
go of that
thought
letting
is
go.
part of the sanshi.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Letting go of
Yeah.
that letting
You still
go.
have a
He's like,
very subtle.
I reached that point.
Yeah.
How
Don't even think about that.
Right,
That's right.
so-
That's
Yeah.
why when
It took him,
people
what,
ask you,
500 years?
are you enlightened?
to realize
I
that.
mean, well, think about it. Think about it. Think about it. If Buddha's story, same thing. Remember when he became enlightened after seeing the the shooting
Falling
star,
star, right.
The comment. Hey, you saw the meteor showers? You guys see the meteor showers during the blood moon, super blood wolf moon, or whatever the heck that is. Anyway, doesn't matter. Are we all enlightened? Nah, we're all like, whoa, so what? Anyway, so when he became enlightened, all right, he achieved that. He's at like you can say 52nd level already. 52nd. He's not yet at that. Okay, but then he's still wondering. So what? Nothing happened, man. Nobody congratulated me, man. No Buddha congratulated. God didn't congratulate me, man.
So he still has that attachment
Yes.
to that.
Yes. So that's part of the sanshi. Okay. So he realized. Oh yeah, I have to. That's not. Then when he did that, then he is Anuttara Samsara. He's truly at that level. Then the Kankara came and say, hey, yeah, congratulations, Siddhartha. Welcome to the club. Whatever. Stuff like that. So that's it. So. But then he also gave him the 3 treasures.
Right.
too. And the mandate.
Right.
The mandate, which is the mandate. This is the heritage.
Yeah, right.
heritage. The
Right.
mandate of the heavenly post.
Post. Right.
Heavenly post. Tianpan, right?
Okay.
Heavenly post. Get it? Because Dipankara was in charge of the heavenly post during the
Yeah,
green
right.
period.
The
during
green period. Right. He was.
So then he had to pass it on
To-
to the next,
right.
his successor, right?
Right.
Which is then Sakyamuni.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
there's another story about Sakamuni that he was not supposed to be the next one who manages the heavenly post. It was supposed to be Maitreya Buddha.
Oh.
But-
Really?
but-
Yes.
but
okay.
he
That's the
was-
story.
That one
Yeah,
happened.
there's a story about that. He worked so hard because somebody there was trying to challenge him. That's why he kind of made it. He was supposed to be the 5th, not the 4th.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? We should have a class on the
Here's
Buddha.
the story. No.
Okay.
That's not happening in this period.
Yeah.
It happened in some previous
Yeah.
eon, Kalpa, that supposedly Siddhartha and Maitreya were both cultivating. Well, you can say they were both like bodhisattvas at that time, okay? And they I might say they were challenging, but they were like competing. You can say competing to
Well,
say.
not him and him, but there's another.
Yeah, whatever. That doesn't matter. That's
Matters.
another eon. I mean, that's another eon. Who cares, right?
Okay.
But,
All right.
But the point is that then he
I'm
said,
getting-
"Oh, I want to achieve it faster," or so he
Yeah.
tried even harder. Siddhartha.
yeah.
And so therefore he supposedly got that, But Maitreya is now the future Buddha. So 2,000 years later, who cares? I mean, so but from that time span, it's nothing. It's meaningless.
Okay. So anyway, getting back to what we were, because I mean, I thought it was a very interesting aspect, as I mentioned earlier about like once you begin to think about seeing beyond the forms and all that, okay, then unfortunately, depending on how you think and all that, that as I thought about it more, it sort of like led to what Lecture Kai and Jill was talking about, all these things, and it sort of like kept going and going, oh my gosh. And that's why I sort of like label it like harsh, in the sense, from the human. But it's hard.
Problem though, you're thinking too hard.
That's possible. No, that's true too. That's true.
Wait,
No,
what do
I
you
do
mean by
agree with that.
harsh? Translator Lin, what do you mean? Oh, hard to read.
Well, no, yeah, hard to reach is part of it, but I realize, when I compare it to like, how does it relate to life, people interacting and all that stuff, then sort of like I begin to see that, wow, you really have to let go of a lot of things. Okay, you let go of a lot of things. Okay, and but it's not to say that we lose our humanity and all that, because after all, when Buddha became enlightened, he was still what? He was also, I shouldn't say he was only, he was also being, even though he was at one, quote unquote, but he was also what? Human form. He also had a human form at the same time.
It is the ultimate expression of humanity.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't say you lose humanity.
No,
It is the ultimate
no, no.
expression of
When I say you lose your humanity,
What do you?
yeah, because maybe by the time I'll talk about it's.
No. You could say no.
I don't know. You're right. To say lose humanity in the sense of as
No,
we
it
express
depends on how you
humanity,
define
it's
it.
not. It's
How
not.
you understand
Yeah,
what
but
humanity means.
but yeah, right.
Three
But anyway,
poisons and all that.
yeah,
Yeah,
no.
the dualistic nature, right? The dualistic nature.
The best
No, when you
best
achieve,
side of it.
Yeah.
No,
Well, okay. Yeah, it's in the topic in itself. But anyway, yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't really know how to describe it, and that's why hence I use the word harsh, maybe the humanity. But yeah, it really truly is not really the right expression. Okay. But anyway, getting back to this though, the point is this: is the fact that here the teacher is telling us the fact that you truly have to reach beyond your forms, because after all, when one of the things that the Buddhists and saints always constantly tells us is the fact that, if we don't like learn how or know how to really relinquish this form or attachments, on the day that you go, when the last nail is in the coffin, or so to speak, that you go, what? If you are still unable to do that, then what happens? You still have this attachment to this
it's
physical
gonna come
form.
back.
And yeah, literally, yeah, it's gonna weigh you down, so to speak.
We're gonna reincarnate.
Yeah, you're gonna reincarnate, because if you cannot really let go of that, then you still come back, so to speak. Okay, so that's very important. Okay, so that's why he says here. Okay, let's see. That's why he asked the question. Only if you can't do that, then how then can you truly obtain true transcendence or this freedom? Because after all, we say Buddha is free in the sense that what? They come and go as they please, right? As for us, we sort of like come and go because we have to, right? Okay. So anyway, okay, and then here goes. Okay, to truly, you have to truly understand the Buddha nature within you. Okay. All right. So because of that, he says, all who are still learning and cultivating, practicing the Tao, regardless of whatever structure or hierarchy you have. Okay. For those who have not transcended samsara, as Kai mentioned, is what? Reincarnation. Okay. To be extricated from the cycle of life and death. Okay, reincarnation. You really are all considered what? Juniors, so to speak. Because after all, in a human-to-human relationship, yeah, we could say seniors and juniors. But from a Buddha to human, the Buddhas are really the seniors, so to speak. And we are still juniors because we still have our physical forms. We have not yet, reached that level of the Buddhas. Okay. Yeah, and so therefore, all must rely on the guidance of the Buddhas to point the way to the true principles, right? Only then can this transform humanity from being lost and confused to realization. If you can be awakened like the Buddha. Okay. Ask yourself, which of you can truly say you're a senior or predecessor? Okay. And who is completely a junior or latecomer? Okay. Really. For us, we can judge it by, whether it's age, whether it's learning, how much knowledge you know, or what status you have, or label, or title that you have. Okay. So, for example, in the case I'm a transmitter. Okay. Now, does that mean that I'm smarter or that I have more wisdom, etc.? No, it does not mean that. It just only means the fact that my karma happened to allow me to have this opportunity to become a transmitter. Okay, it's not to say, hey, by the way, I cultivated more than you did in the past. No, it's that my karma, because how much you cultivate versus what your karma is can be different things. It's not necessarily the same. Okay, just because you cultivate more, does not mean that you have a specific, or no, I should say, even if you have cultivated more, etc. Okay, it does not imply, automatically imply that your karma in the next life will be in a certain way, okay, necessarily, okay. Now we say, yeah, there's cause and effect, that's true. But the point is that for each one of us, a good example would be this, like, say, okay, you say this, okay. Remember the story, Lecturer Liu talked about, what, the elder abbot and the little, his disciple about the Jingang, is it Jingang Jing?
Yeah.
Jingang Jing book?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jingang Jing, right. Okay, I mean, from the perspective of the present, that guy, the little monk is just what? A little novice, right? A novice monk. Nothing more. You know, he still have to, he's assigned to, you know, clean the toilets, do whatever, right? All that. But yet, in the bigger scheme of things, so to speak, okay,
He became enlightened.
he is more what? Well, he's closer to, you know, I guess you could say, he has cultivated more, so to speak.
More lifetimes
Yeah,
Well, in
then,
the previous life.
yeah, then what?
than
The current senior,
Yeah.
the current senior, right? Yeah. So the outer appearance is can be deceiving. It's not to say that it isn't there. Okay, it can be deceiving, but it doesn't give you the complete picture. That's what it comes down to.
Okay.
Okay.
Because we only see this lifetime.
Yeah, right. We
don't
only
know
see this
what
lifetime, right?
happened.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. So thus the true meaning of this topic, okay, which is what? To follow the seniors and lead the juniors, okay, if you will, to put it simply, is to follow the example of the saintly or the Buddhas and to respect and honor those with thou virtues and learn from them. Okay, because after all, it is what? The Buddhists and saints who what? Teach us and point the way. Okay, so, okay, even more so to have humility, to help people, to allow everyone that has affinity with you and to all receive the proper support, assistance, and really overcome the material desires and attain sainthood. Okay, that's again my translation of this phrase. Okay, it's an idiom also. Okay, and basically it literally means like to overcome the fan is mundane, worldly,
yeah.
etc.
Worldly,
Okay,
yeah.
and then to become a saintly person and to transcend this samsara. Okay, all right. Now, however, the problem is that we are humans. We have forms. So therefore, as within the common, like those who have received the Tao mandate has senior before you, if you have to try to understand, and this is the part that I mentioned about the lecture Liu story about the senior monk and the novice monk. You have to understand that there's the principle of what? Hearing encounter Tao can be early or late. Karmic affinity can be quick or slow.
Right.
Okay. So in that sense, just because we have karmic affinity, okay, I like to think of it as this. Okay. You have two cultivators. We're all, in fact, the fact that I have karma with all of you in this room. The reason why I can say that is because, yeah, it is because of karmic affinity in the past that today we are here together, or we have the opportunity to be here together. Okay, so therefore, now, but however, each one of us has what? Progress in our, in terms of cultivation, that is, at different degrees or different pace, different pace, a different pace is our past. Okay, and so that is why, and besides pace, also, I guess you could say, the affinity we have with the Buddhas and saints are different too. Okay, because just because you cultivate more, okay, does not mean necessarily that you have greater affinity with the Buddhas and saints. Not necessarily. You could have, you know, for example, you know, like the people who, you know, who during the time of the lineage of Tao, where you have like individual transmissions at that time, etc. Okay, okay. It is true that because of their karma, people became what? Kings or whatever, because they have better karma, because they took the path of what, the 6 paths of reincarnation little differently, where some people became royalty, others became peasants, and so all that. And it just so happens that the lineage of Tao occurred in the Green Period, what? Following the sort of like royalty, so to speak, right? They were in the kings and whatever, and not in the peasants. Okay, so just because of the fact that you have different, I guess you could say degrees of cultivation, okay, you can still have slightly different karmas. Okay, and anyway, so this basically phrase in a way allows us to understand why where we are, in a way. Because when I read it, I said, oh yeah, that makes sense. Because after all, I'll just use my family as an example, where I have an elder brother and a younger brother, right? Okay, but why did I become a transmitter? Why not my elder brother? You would think that it should be the elder, right? Because after all, that is what the
Not eligible.
no, yeah. So the point I'm getting at is because it is true that we do have different karmas and different levels or different efforts in terms of pursuit of cultivation. Because even in this lifetime now, even though I can say I'm a transmitter, but let's say my siblings have put more effort into cultivation than I do now. Does that mean that because I'm already a transmitter in the next, if we all have next life, that I'll be at a higher level even? No, not necessarily, because it also depends upon your present condition, meaning the fact that how much you presently put into cultivation. Okay, because I can still slack off, which is true. Even though I'm still trying, I can still slack off.
Are you?
No, yeah, sometimes. Yes, I have to admit, yes, I sometimes, no, I shouldn't say yes, sometimes.
No, we all are.
I do have slack off time, yes, where I don't really get motivated to cultivate as much as I should. Okay, that's true. And so in a way, it's when I thought about this, I do sort of like spend some time reflecting. What have I done this life? Etc. Okay, and what have I really truly put what I should put into the effort of cultivation? Okay, all right. So anyway, okay, if one can, if we understand these principles about karma and encountering the Tao, as well as the fact that we can overcome these forms, etc. Okay, then if you can truly know that and understand the fact that what you have a Buddha within you, okay, then how can one not be respectful or venerate or follow the instructions and manage affairs as if you will presented to us by our seniors, okay, or the Buddhas and saints, okay. Let's see. Okay, for those who all right. If we can retain a benevolent heart and follow the example of the Buddhas, okay, then we cannot be sincere, and in helping others or abiding by the seniors or following the seniors and leading the juniors. Okay. So basically, this is just a question that posed reverse in the sense that I think, let's put it this way: if you truly can understand the fact that you are a Buddha or saint. Let me ask you this then. We all know the fact that from the first top precept that, it's Buddha within, we all know that there's Buddha nature within you, right? Okay. I would pose the question, do you really understand what it means that you have a Buddha nature within you? Do you really understand? Truly understand what it means? Okay, do you truly understand? Because honestly, if you have reached the level of like the Buddha, where he truly understood that, okay, so to speak, then shouldn't you now be a Buddha?
Yeah. See, there's a distinction. We understand at the intellectual level.
Conscious level, yeah.
You can say conscious
Yeah.
level, intellectual level. That we all have a Buddha nature.
Right.
Some of us believe that. Some don't believe it. But at least, those of us who receive the Tao, in general, understand that at the intellectual level, at the mental level. But we haven't realized it. So that's what we say, 明心见性. That's very important. To realize our Buddha nature and to see our Buddha nature or see our true self.
True self.
When I say see our true self means that everything we understand and we see and therefore we say and do comes straight from our Buddha
Buddha
nature,
nature, right.
not from our intellectual level. So in other words, if I haven't learned something or understood something at the mental level, then I wouldn't be able to speak it. I wouldn't be able to act it, right? Because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to behave properly, or I don't know what's considered well manners, good manners, etc., right? Okay, that's at the human level, intellectual level. So that means that you haven't realized the Buddha nature yet. You may have understood or learned at the intellectual level, say, oh yeah, we all have some kind of Buddha nature or something, soul, spirit, whatever. I mean, people, right? But you haven't realized it. That's the difference. Get it? That's the subtle difference. That's the quantum leap. That's like a quantum leap. Understand? So yeah, we all learn. So that means if you haven't learned, you're ignorant, right? We're ignorant because I don't know I have a Buddha nature. Right? But learning is different from realizing. That's why we say you have to experience it, right? That's why we say, Buddha, everybody has to experience it themselves. Hey, the water is pure and good. So you learn about, somebody such and such has said something, some sutra, somebody said that, this water is clear. It's good, it's tasty, it's flavorful, whatever. But if you haven't tasted yourself, you're not going to know it.
Right.
You're not going to realize it. Make sense?
Yeah, to know something versus to what? To carry it out is two different things, right? So same thing, whatever. So the time is short. So anyway, basically, part of why it's hard for us to be awakened to that realization is the fact that we have what? Right, attachments, right? We still have these forms that are what? That is also why the Buddhists and saints tell us to what? We should what? Gai mao, in Chinese we say gai mao bing qi pi qi, right?
Oh, just get it all.
Yeah, right. Why? Because these are things that can hinder you to that awakening.
To reach that realization.
Right, to realization. Okay, so that's why, if you truly can abide, and so therefore the true meaning to conclude, so to speak, the true meaning of what? Of following the seniors and leading the juniors is what? Not only to look at the outward aspect, but more importantly, the inner aspects. Okay, and that's really the most important part. Just again, as it relates to the first precept about what Yan Hui, the disciple Yan Hui versus Meng Zhenzi, excuse me. One what? Emphasize more the inner aspect versus the what? Outer aspect. Okay, so.
Well, one way to say it is say, follow the seniors, follow that true nature, follow the Buddha.
I was going to say that.
And the outside is your external.
Right, manifestation. Right.
Follow.
Yeah.
Sorry. So
Go
you're
ahead.
almost done with the second one, right?
I'm done.
Okay,
I'm done.
Okay, good. Let me just, because I have to make a correction. Sorry. No, not you, myself. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Another way of saying, what Transparent Ray talked about a lot of it is all the external aspect. Respecting our seniors, et cetera.
Yeah, propriety and all that stuff that comes about.
Propriety, the role models of Buddhas, et cetera. That's not wrong. Don't get me wrong. That's not wrong. But that is, we can divide into two categories. That is called 渐修. That is what we call gradual cultivation. Because we haven't realized our Buddha nature yet. Get it? So you still have to, follow the precepts, follow whatever. Okay. The inner, the instant or the 顿修, the instant cultivation is the internal side, which is to say, to follow our Buddha nature, to realize our Buddha nature, and then be in accordance. When I say follow, it means be at one, be in accordance with that Buddha nature. Get it? And to let our Buddha nature guide our human nature.
I think the internal aspect of Tihou is really to get rid of our shortcomings, our weaknesses, so we become perfect.
I have a correction. Sorry. I remember earlier I said that awakening the treatise is 起信论. It's not the 14th. Sorry, it's the 12th. Asyagasa, whatever his name is. Okay, he's the 12th patriarch. He's the one who wrote that. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry, because I don't want that listen to a recording, people say, oh, it's 14. No, it's really the 12th patriarch, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes. Okay. So anyway, I like to. I just want to conclude by saying that it's unfortunate that my presentations are going one precept at a time instead of like 2 or 3.
No, but that's in detail.
Yeah, because I mean, I do really want to go into a lot of detail with each precept, because this way it does allow you to get a little bit more understanding. Okay, and maybe in the future we'll just read more just the translations that I've done. And again, the translations itself, it's can be better, so to speak, but yeah, it's important for us as cultivators to really, as Joe mentioned, the fact that we have to in a way go step by step. So because sometimes I think about the fact that I listen to all these great presentations or theories or whatever, right? About, you learn so much. Wow, this Tao can be this and that. But I've always tried to make myself be aware of the fact, hey, you just start with just 改毛病, chi pi chi. Transform your character. And you start with that, and that really is good enough, because everything else comes automatically after that. So start with something very simple in a way, and if you can just go step by step, then you eventually will get you where you want to go. Okay. So anyway, I wish to thank the grace of heaven and the virtue of our predecessors and the benevolence of our transmitters that I have this opportunity to present this topic on the precepts, and I hope that each one of us can be able to learn and practice it. Most importantly, practice it. But first, to try to awaken yourself as much as you can. Thank you.